Welcome to the Sherdog Radio Network live recap for UFC Vegas 107, Gamrot versus Klein. I'm your host, Ben Duffy of sherdog.com. I have to make an announcement. Keith Shillan was scheduled to make the walk to his office chair for this recap. He has not been cleared to do so. So I am going to be running this show solo. We'll keep you up to date on how Keith is doing. Anything we find out, you'll be the first to know. Please have some respect for Mr. Shillan, and we don't want any wild speculation or rumor as to the cause of his absence from the show. He's always been a consummate professional on our previews and recaps. Just, please respect Keith and his family during this difficult time. Keith, you're muted.
Yeah, obviously, guys, we're having a little fun with maybe possibly a serious situation. But this is the Shillan and Duffy recap show live on sherdogdotcom. Ben rightfully said the Gamrot versus Klein recap show. That's because the main event, Erin Blanchfield versus Maycee Barber, was supposed to go down. It got canceled after they did the promo as the music was playing. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We'll get to that in a second. Wow. So, Ben, I have remembered fights being canceled last minute, fights being canceled on the day of the fight. I think of, obviously more recently, Danny Gay doing the most badass thing of all time, driving to arena to fight. I think of Kevin Randleman.
Sure.
When he slipped backstage and they had a main event canceled. Another one I think of almost got canceled, but when Vitor Belfort had like a little panic attack when he was going to fight Randy Couture.
Yeah.
All these things.
Oh, Ken Shamrock cutting himself backstage before he had to go out and fight Kimbo Slice, and out walks Seth Petrozelli and destroys Elite XC in like 10 seconds.
I never remember after someone's actually the promo started, the music started.
It literally could not get any later.
I mean, I guess it could have been in the cage.
Yeah.
I think I gotta find it. MMA Rax said it best, the most apex shit of all time.
Oh, and maybe fortunately so, because if this had happened in an arena where people had paid between $50 and $500 to get in and been subjected to this card, which, I mean, we'll give it a letter grade at the end, but spoiler, I'm going to make the case that it's the worst UFC card in the last 5 years. People would be tearing their seats out. Like, we joke occasionally and say, if such and such happens, we riot. People might be rioting.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think Brandon Fitzgerald would have been underneath the table again. Yeah, this is bad. So obviously we had a little fun, and this is what we're gonna do. We'll take the UFC for their word at first. Sure. That she was ready to go. She was waiting in the back. Something happened. She had Erin Blanchfield was interviewed. She said that she was told. I forget who she said. Hunter Campbell, I think, maybe told her that Maycee had a seizure. Obviously, and she's had health issues recently, stuff we don't know about, something that the broadcast team kept referring to. So obviously, I can speak for both me and Ben and hopefully everyone in the chat, and I know I speak for everyone at Sherdog, where our thoughts and prayers and all that stuff. We hope Maycee's okay.
Yes.
I don't know if this is unprofessional of me. I ain't buying it.
Here, if I may be permitted just a slight sidetrack here, whether I'm at my job or just in my personal life, my personal goals are to always be kind and honest. That's what I really care about. And be kind, be honest. Because sometime around
Mr. Rogers over here. Nice.
And you talk to me enough to know that I am not Mr. Rogers. But it's possible to say things are bad without being unkind. It's possible to make fun of things that are bad without being unkind. Like I try to be kind and I try to be honest. And I if you're watching this show right now, I owe it to you to be honest. This sounds fishy. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter to me. If she really did have a seizure 36 hours after missing weight, that's not a fight week failure. That is a 4 weeks ago failure. That's an 8 weeks ago failure. Like it's yeah, it sucks. It obviously sucks for us, the fans, but at least it was a free cable card. It sucks for Erin Blanchfield. She has a limited amount of time in which to ply her trade, make her legacy, make as much money as possible, fulfill her dreams. And I don't know if they rebooked this. I don't know if they just treated as if she won and all of a sudden she's one call away from a title shot. But I hope they pay her show and win money, because she's been nothing but professional this entire week. I'm sure they'll pay her show money. I hope they pay her show and win money.
Yeah.
Because
she could have got
otherwise, you fight 3 times a year. Just getting stiffed your win bonus, that's 1/6 of your pay for the entire year. That because your opponent wasn't professional, that sucks.
So when they so obviously I'm not a gambler, but I'll bet some money here and there in football and stuff. So when Brandon Fitzgerald was doing the something's going on with Maycee Barber, she's the main event hasn't been canceled yet, but it's a possibility. I instantly went right over to my gambling site and I was like, I was picking Blanchfield already. I don't know what's going on with Barber. I was betting every single dollar I had in my account on Erin Blanchfield. Unfortunately, before I could get there, they already had it like frozen. Somebody, I'm hoping like, it's a European site. They're not really watching. I can throw it on there real quick. It's a computer thing but I couldn't game them.
Gamblers and bookies were the only people watching this thing by that time. So yeah, they were all over you, dude.
Yeah. So obviously things have not gone well for Maycee Barber. She's still super young. I'm not going to completely jump off the bandwagon. And I know what happens. This is what I tend to do. I think it's the, I don't know, the wholesome part of me that comes out every once in a while. Everybody in the MMA community is going to absolutely hate this woman. They're going to turn against her. She's going to get the most hate since Bo Nicholas, and they're going to go crazy on her. And what's going to happen, I'm not going to defend her. I'm not going to go to Twitter and say, oh, my God. But, I have a feeling I'm going to stop rooting for her, because I always tend to root for the person that gets hate in a way that I think is unwarranted. Not because she had panic attack, because she had done things wrong. Yeah. People who I think deserve hate are the women abusers, the criminals, those people. Sure. Yeah. Not the guy who got fast tracked to a title, not the guy who, his wife wrote a book, not the guy who, filling all the people that get hate. Patty Pimblett gets hate because, I don't know, he's popular area of the country, whoever.
There's a difference between being annoying and being an objectively bad person.
Exactly. I don't think Maycee Barber's an objectively bad person. So that's why I'll send hate. But you know how it is. The MMA community is going to slaughter her. They are relentless. So I'm concerned. Obviously, I think instantly if I'm the UFC, she has to fight at 135 her next fight. Not even an option. I don't give her you want to fight, it's 135. You haven't earned our grace to fight at 125 after this debacle. If this was a regular fight night main card fight, if this was the Maycee Chiasson fight, at that point, you get grace. But this is the main event. In a card that was top heavy. A card that was really relying on you. And again, maybe it was just a seizure. Maybe it's a freak thing. Maybe it has nothing to do with weight cutting. It could just be someone has seizures. My sister has seizures, not often, and it tends to she'll have 3 or 4 in a 4-month span, and then she won't have any for 8 years or something. Maybe it's just some freak thing like that. I'm not counting on it. Now, Blanchfield, I've interviewed Blanchfield multiple times. She is like she's the real deal. Her personality on TV is her personality. She is as sweet as they come. All right. Um, I kind of wish she wasn't though. I'm glad that she didn't go mean girl because that's not her personality. Like some people just can't do it. Like when people want Demetrius Johnson to sell fights and talk shit, and that's not him. Erin Blanchfield's not that. But if this was scripted, if this was WWE,
Imagine if it was Juliana Pena on the
oh
other
my
end of this fight.
god, I was just gonna say that exactly.
Like
Yes.
Juliana Pena is holding up both ends of the table for Kayla Harrison, trying to make their fight nasty, and yeah, and it's hard to do. If this kind of thing happened, Juliana Pena would be dancing on somebody's professional grave.
This is when I wish that MMA fighters managers were like, fake WWE managers, your Bobby Heenan's, your who's the guy who's really good now? He does Brock Lesnar, and I'm sure the chat.
Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman, yeah, the guys who can talk. This would have been perfect if Erin Blanchfield had some guy who could just be like, you know what? She wanted out. She did everything to be out. She purposely missed weight, thinking we wouldn't take the fight. She's trying everything. I'm the boogeyman. She's scared of me everywhere she goes. I'm there, ready for her. She's been dodging me forever. Even to the
walking
point,
out with an urn full that's supposed to be full of somebody's ashes while he says all this shit.
Yeah, even the point that she's faking medical. She'll never fight me. She's scared. We're not going to let you off the hook. We're going to show up. We're going to go to your gym. We're going to go to your house. You go to your niece's dance recital. I'm going to be there. Like, give me one of those. Give me one of those promos. When she gets her fake boobs checked out at the doctor's, I'm going to be in the office, in the waiting room, waiting for her. Just lay it all out.
All right. Since Keith broke the seal on that topic of discussion, can I point out the silliness of adding a pound or two of completely, literally uncuttable weight in the middle of your fight career in your mid-20s? Like, it's dangerous to read too much into intangibles. But I will say that getting implants in your mid-20s on one side versus I'm not even going to get my cauliflower ear fixed until I'm done competing on the other side shows two very different mental approaches to your professional life.
Yeah, no, I know. I will say this. I'm going to disagree on something. I don't think it's ever bad for your career to get a boob job. So, I speak on the MMA community. I'm pro boob job. So, for anybody, I mean, Derek Lewis can get one. I mean, let's do it.
Some UFC heavyweights wouldn't need one.
So the one best thing I think of the Blanchfield interview was she was asked, would you be willing to fight her again? And she's like, nope, I'm moving on. Like, she's not on my level. My corners instantly was saying we're done with her. She did it in a very professional way, but I kind of feel like you have to do that. Like, you just move on. What are you doing with Erin Blanchfield?
I'm treating her as if she won this fight. And I'm either giving her a title shot or I'm giving her a title eliminator against Grasso. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm doing the same. I'm treating her like she won this. Like, not only did she win, but she won all week. She won the trash talk. She won the Instagram battle. She won the weigh-ins. And now she won this. It is flawless victory for her. I'm not giving the title shot because I'm giving Weili Zhang the title shot. She's done everything she's had to do at strawweight. Give her the title shot, moving up. If that fight doesn't happen, yeah, I'm throwing Blanchfield in. That said, I'm putting it against the one that the broadcast team said. Yeah, DC was saying, no, I don't do that fight. But I put her versus Natalia Silva in a main event number one contender matchup. Like, make the announcement, winner of this gets the title shot. Have the champion in the arena. Which it kind of seemed like they were trying to do with Shevchenko anyways. But That's what Erin could have done. I want to fight. Valentina's here. Let's go. Get in the cage. I don't care about weigh-ins, Valentina.
Yeah, I don't care what you weigh, Valentina.
Yeah.
I mean, having been in elevators with Valentina, she's probably back up to about 150 pounds right now and not fat.
No.
But yeah.
But she could have just went off and been like, I'm going to beat you no matter what your weight is, Valentina. Get in there. I'm always ready. Turns out that
Valentina's got one of those like male stripper, like Velcro rip away outfits on. She's got her fight kit on and like runs in. I like this.
She probably would. All right. I'm not going to bother with Barber matchmaking her. If you want to throw a name out there, go for it. But I'm just saying she has to fight at 135.
Name I'll throw out is Mike Dolce.
The Dolce. That's not. I don't. Is that guy even around anymore?
I think everybody kind of got over his thing. No, here's the thing. As you pointed out, she's still 26, 27 years old. She was on a hell of a win streak that was totally legit leading into this. She can come back from this. And if she does, that'll be a hell of a story when it happens. So, yeah. But I really don't even care who she fights next.
Yeah.
Like, why would I want to book her against somebody in a match that I really care about now?
Yeah. The thing is, she's going to get so much attention from this. I mean, she's already obviously I always think about like the what's it called? The two circles of interloop. What's those like?
Venn diagram.
Venn diagram, yeah. Where one side I always think of talent and one side is marketability. She might not be perfect, but she's in that realm.
Yeah.
This makes her more marketable. There's more questions. The interviews next time is, you can't bury her on the prelims somewhere because she's going to be getting a lot of attention. She's probably going to be on Errol Hawani's show sometime very soon, but who she fights, I don't think it matters. I think you get her a fight where she's going to win, maybe a faded name at 135, someone that she could beat. But anyways, let's move on. Let's get to the actual main event, which is Gamrot took on Ludwig Klein. Gamrot winning by unanimous decision. This is one right. I tweeted to. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to steal your thunder and give you your flowers because we both had kind of middling nights overall on the picks, but you made this fight your lock of the night, and damn if you weren't right. Like,
I don't think our picks are that
bad. Mine
6-3.
Well,
6-3.
I went 5 and 4, but 2 of the ones I got wrong, the winning fighter missed weight, so I might have picked it differently if you'd asked me on like Friday night. But you could not have been more right. Gamrot looked fantastic, and just in the driver's seat the whole time against an extremely dangerous fighter. That's all I was going to throw out there.
Yeah. I like Klein. I think Klein's a good one. I just thought this was a terrible stylistic matchup for him. And Gamrot, he won't gain many fans. Like, I get that. Even this performance tonight, he's not going to gain many fans. But he's a threat. He's a threat in that division, in one of the most stacked divisions, obviously, both talent and name-wise. There's a lot of big names. He deserves a guy like Justin Gaethje next. He's not going to get Justin Gaethje. But I love his attitude. I love this guy he's ranked way up there. I don't know where he's in the Sherdog rankings, but he's got to be in the top 6 or 7. And he's willing to take in a guy not ranked. I know not ranked in UFC. I don't think Klein was ranked in our rankings. I know he's not ranked in our rankings. And he's still like, I want to fight. I'm not ducking anybody. I'll fight unranked guys. Not many people are doing that. And I just, like I said, he's not pleasing. But if you're a coach, you would love what he does. Like the little things when he's got his back and he's kicking the legs out. At one point, I don't know if you saw this where Klein was on, so he was wrapped behind him. Klein was on one knee, and Gamrot started standing on his calf.
I made a note about that. That's just mean. I loved it.
I'm like, that's if I saw one of my wrestlers doing that to another kid, I would be like, this is my favorite kid ever. Like, who thinks of that? You know, he hits a crackdown position. He does all the things that are just like, yeah. I'm sitting there watching this fight and being like, 99% of MMA fans is probably hating this fight right now, and I'm loving every single thing Gamrot's doing.
Oh, I loved this about it because there is something about a really, really seasoned wrestler. Like there's a difference between someone who started learning wrestling when they started MMA when they were 22
Sure,
and someone who started learning wrestling when they were 5 when they started wrestling, because he was so methodical. And not all wrestlers are. Like when you think of someone like Michael Chandler, Josh Koscheck, it's this rocket launched double leg and they're
sure.
overwhelming their opponent with the speed. Gamrot knows when he has when he has to move quick, and when he knows, okay, I can take a sec, look what he's giving me, and take it. And so watching him destroy Ludovic Klein's takedown defense ratio was like watching Klein die in quicksand or get choked by like a boa constrictor or something. I
It was
love to
like
see it. It
the
was like watching. It was an instructional video for cage wrestling. It is basically what it
it was
was.
like it's like watching the horse in the never-ending story just sinking down.
Yeah, Artex
Just
dying in the swamps of sadness. Yeah, come on, Ludovic,
yeah.
don't let the sadness of the swamps overtake you.
um, yeah. Funny thing about Gamrot is definitely like modern wrestling. If you watch, like, when I think of wrestling, and you think of like you said, your Chandler, Chikasheks, they were early 2000, 2005 ish, 2007 ish. Current now wrestling is a lot more scrambles, a lot more funk style, roll throughs, and that's what Gamrot is. And he's fun. It's funny, his entries are fast. He really doesn't set him up. He really
He
shoots,
trusts
kind
himself
of
to chain
dive in.
wrestle. It's
Yeah.
almost like
Yeah.
it's almost like his first entry is a feint. He's just waiting for him to sprawl, and he knows he's going to be ahead of him the next 4 steps.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, that's right. Like, he doesn't care about that first one. It's honestly, similar to, and I'm not saying record wise and talent wise. I mean just style wise. Habib was the same way. Habib would just
Mhm.
dive right in, and he didn't care about getting the first one. He's like, I need to get this much space, and then the second entry, I need that much space, and with my third move, I've made where I need, and that's kind of what Gamrot does. Now, his striking, he lands more strikes than people give him credit. I mean, even in this fight, I mean, the striking on the feet was pretty even, considering, uh, Klein is supposed to be, the better, striker, and
Mhm.
Gamrot did pretty well, and that's because of the threat of the takedowns, and so I, I'm sitting there, and the division obviously has really got shaken up with Makhachev leaving, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, when I was watching Gamrot like hit a crackdown and scramble, I just kept thinking like, damn, I want to see that rematch against Sarukian again. Like, how much fun would that be? But with Islam being out, and we saw him actually already out wrestle Sarukian, he's probably the best wrestler in the division. And I'm not predicting this. I'm just saying that it's not out of the realm of possibility that Gamrot wins the title. I truly believe that.
It is not out of the realm of possibility. And our man Antoine Willis actually asked that: does Gamrot ever fight for the belt at 34? He had a chance, within the last 12 to 18 months that didn't pan out for him. And I think Keith kind of hit it on the head in the now Islamless 155-pound division. It's tough to pick anybody over him with confidence. Like, who is there that you don't think Mateusz Gamrot could do that to that we just saw?
I support who's now in the division.
Yeah, and honestly, Gamrot versus Taporia, I want to see that.
Yeah, I think he could beat Gaethje, but not the way we just saw him win. I think Gaethje, obviously that we've seen other guys do well against him, like obviously Hooker and stuff. But all in all, he's definitely someone to watch out for. I think he can go all the way. I didn't have as many notes as I normally do for main event because I didn't expect this to be a main event. What are we doing next?
I don't know. I liked the Gaethje call out. Like, I wouldn't be mad at a rematch with Sarukian. Honestly, that's kind of what we're down to. Like, how many?
Yeah, and that's what I wrote.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I wrote. I wrote Sarukian versus him in a rematch, number one contender matchup, fight night, or maybe actually that one might get in an arena somewhere, and number one contender matchup. Same if the UFC doesn't want to put Sarukian in a number one contender matchup, kind of similar to the Barber situation, not to as short notice, but that was even worse because it was a pay-per-view headliner. If you want to set him up with Gaethje in the same situation, I'm okay with that. So like I want big fights for him. No more not ranked guys. Klein, I'm not giving a rank guy. Like he didn't have a good performance, but it wasn't like horrendous. Like at the end, he had a nice little run at the end. It was a tough stylistic matchup. Juice X is going Rafael Fiziev. I keep calling Rafael. I know it's not. It's Rafael Fiziev. Right? That natural seeing the R and instantly going H. I think he's Bahamondes. I think he's booked against. But
and Klein's already fought Bahamondes, so it's not like he can even kind of wait that one out.
I'm dropping him out of the rankings. I'm putting him against Bobby Green.
Oh,
I think that's a fun stylistic matchup.
Yeah.
Did you have a name in mind?
I was just kind of fishing through that, I don't know, 10 through 20 range. I like Green just fine.
Like, all right, let's move on. I mean, like I said, this is probably. I mean, it's only a 9-fight card, and we lost the main event, so this will probably be one of our quickest recap shows ever. As I say that, we're already 32 minutes in, but co-main. So now the co-main event, which again is why placement matters on the card.
I'm having a little trouble hearing Keith. Is anybody in the audience? Oh, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know what happened. Sorry about that. I don't know if you last heard me, but Ramiz Brahimaj beat Billy Goff. My mic cord came out, so it instantly muted me. He won my first round submission. Billy Goff was and my Wi-Fi is like, I don't know what is going on, but it seems like every Saturday night for about 6 Saturdays in a row, it's been raining here. And my Wi-Fi is on like 1 bar right now. I don't know. But I apologize, guys, if my screen is I can't do anything about it. I don't know what to tell you. Like it's like a million times in a row now. But Billy Goff was the biggest favorite on the card. Then tell me why.
As I said on the preview, I had no fucking idea why. And here's the thing. Full disclosure, I picked Goff to win, but I said right out of the gate, I went and rechecked this multiple times to make sure it wasn't Brahimaj's odds against his original opponent that just got copied and pasted across. But no, he was like a minus 350 favorite against Ramiz Brahimaj. Having said that, again, I kind of thought Goff would win. I apparently have been too slow to come around on Ramiz Brahimaj, but as close as you can get to a perfect performance. Here's the thing. I just talked about how it was impressive to see Mateusz Gamrot wrestling Ludovic Klein, and just how he never rushed. He always was in the driver's seat. He could be deliberate and methodical about things. Ramiz Brahimaj choking out Billy Goff is an example of the importance of moving fast, because if you've watched more than 3 MMA fights in your entire life, you have seen at least one situation where one fighter either grabs a guillotine or reacts to a takedown with a guillotine, goes to his back, arches back, cranks and cranks and cranks, and you can see the vertebrae on the other fighter, and you're like, oh, it looks like his head's going to pop off. But if you've watched at least 3 fights, you know he's not finishing that guillotine, and 15 seconds later, he's given up the takedown. Brahimaj just switching from kind of the arm-in guillotine to the ninja choke to basically the kind of power guillotine front choke thing, all in the space of 5 or 6 seconds. He's going from something that attacks one carotid artery to something that attacks the windpipe to something that attacks the opposite carotid faster than Goff could react. Because normally, like even in the gym, you don't see somebody get choked all the way to sleep that quickly. Goff was completely unprepared to defend it. Brahimaj cycled through different choke variations with the ease of somebody that's been doing this for years and years and years. It's the grappling equivalent of watching what Gamrot did in wrestling. Just here, it was the virtue of being able to go fast, 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 and turning what is otherwise a low percentage submission into airtight, oh my God, get the smelling salts for this dude. Super, super impressive stuff from Ramiz Brahimaj. And whatever I may say about the god awful pacing of this card, which ended up being like 9 fights in 5 hours or something, for him to get a little extra time to kind of unburden himself and say, yeah, God is good. My life is hard. I doubted myself. I did this. I did that, to get a little buddy with DC. Keith, as someone who has interviewed tons of people in MMA, and then at least part of his day job is interviewing usually unwilling subjects. All I crave out of interviews, whether I'm doing them or I'm watching them, is a little bit of realness. Just getting past the like George St. Pierre pat answers, or the perp in the interrogation room, just like bald-faced lies.
The dude,
getting an unguarded moment.
Dude, I can help you out. Like, I can work with the truth. I can't work with a lie, man. Like, I use that line all the time. I can work with you on the truth, man. Yeah. You're gonna stand in front of a judge, and you could stand in front of a judge, someone who takes the blame and said yes, and fall on the sword and say ask for grace, or you can be that person who stands on a bold-faced lie. And how do you think that's gonna work out for you? I always say that one. I think that gets the heartstrings. Anyways, I gotta focus on Billy Goff. What a terrible game plan. And I totally agree with what you said, Brahimaj being obviously a super dangerous grappler, but like circling your game of Billy Goff is pressure striking, forcing guy back foot. Instead, he circles the perimeter of like that like warning zone to set up his opponent to take entries to shoot on him. So you really can't sprawl that much. You basically put yourself in the position where Brahimaj wants to be, and he gets a takedown and just reminds everybody. And I never picked New England fighters to win. I picked a New England fighter to win. We both in agreement did say, like, I remember when you quizzed me who was going to be the favorite, and I was like, neither one should be this big of a favorite. And I actually said Brahimaj because I'm like, he's got the easiest path to like getting a like stoppage. New England MMA sucks. I'm not saying Billy Goff sucks. I'm just saying the whole region. But I don't want to go off too far in the tracks. Brahimaj has won back-to-back fights. He had 2 great interviews. You mentioned it, one with DC. I was there in New York when he won his last one, and he had a huge. His post-fight was really cool. Any belief from Brahimaj? Like, are you believing that he can? Obviously, that division is loaded, and when I say belief, I'm not saying like he's going to win the title, but could he be a mid-card guy?
Yes, he could be a mid-card guy, and if he strings together 2 more of these, I mean, he's going to be at least calling for the name of a somewhat recently ranked guy or another guy on the way up. I still need to see him against somebody with takedown defense and a game plan, because he has yet to have a win over somebody that has both of those things. But I mean, do you want to throw him in there against like a really aged guy? Like, I don't know, like did Tim Means retire?
Yeah, he retired. But yeah, okay. That kind of type guy.
That kind of person, like a just gritty veteran that's been around forever. Maybe if 2 weeks from now, Angelosa beats Phil Rowe, give him like Phil Rowe or somebody. Yeah, get like he's proven that he belongs. Now he needs to prove he can get off of cards like this, and then we can talk about whether he's a
before that, Dustin Jacobe turned back the clocks one more time as he took on Bruno Lopez, winning by first round TKO. Jacobe won by a jab.
Like it was a jab that started the whole thing going downhill. I gave you enormous props for your call of Gamrot. I'm going to take my flowers here because I called this. I said, Jacobe's not just going to win. He's going to win and make it look so easy that the UFC desk isn't going to be talking about how he's back and he's better than ever. Don't believe it, but he's going to look fantastic on Saturday. He looked even more fantastic than I predicted because I had him down for a second round TKO. I thought he might be a little tentative, not wanting to get crowded against the cage, not wanting to get taken down, not wanting to walk into like one big punch. No, he went right to work, and
he was there for like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
like 30 seconds he did that, like circled the cage, was waiting for the takedowns, then he just threw one punch and
he was more surprised than Lopez.
The guy with a jab.
And from there, I love that his own, like, Saif Saud and Daniel Cormier were both screaming at him to like disengage, get some space, and finish him against the fence. Like they were both yelling at him at the same time to get out of the clinch. Jacobe looked fantastic, and the punishment he put on Lopez in about 40 seconds after landing that jab was just savage. Some of those uppercuts were ugh.
Yeah, he never recovered. I mean, he hurt with a jab, and then he decided to eat uppercuts and hooks, and then the way he knocked out was great. We're gonna see that highlight for Jacobe forever. I will correct you though. The booth did say like, "Oh, he's back. He's never looked better. He's so hot." But they also said that in the promo package about like Dustin Jacobe, like about being so great, and he's like, they're like, and he won his last 3 fights by knockout, but not but they had to say that he won his. Oh no, not that he won his last 3 fights. It was and his last 3 wins came by knockout. It's like spread it out over time. It's like and Tank Abbott's last 3 wins have been by knockout too. Like anyways, are you believing in the like resurgence of Jacobe back-to-back KO wins?
I still think Jacobe is what I thought he was 24 hours ago. He's a guy that can absolutely thrash some people in the UFC light heavyweight division. I've now seen what it looks like when this version of him runs into top 15 people, and I have no reason to believe that's different.
And was that a consensus?
Like if he was calling for a rematch with like he mentioned that he thought he got robbed against Khalil Roundtree. It was a close fight, but
no. Was it Roundtree
or Benefield?
Benefield, yeah.
Yeah. Like
he did get robbed against Roundtree.
Yeah. When that fight happened. Having said that, I don't need to see him against like Roundtree in a rematch now. Like, like I still think he's the same Dustin Jacobe. He just ran into the kind of guy that he's going to destroy.
Was this like one of our consensus underdog picks, or was Jacobe the favorite?
Jacobe was the favorite.
He was the favorite. Okay, for some reason I thought he might have been the underdog. All right, let's pause for a second. Let's get to the know your host section. So this is everyone's favorite portion. Got to it much quicker than I expected to. But we're going to pause for MMA. We're going to talk about our personal lives. Ben, you got a question for us. What is your question?
Yeah, well, believe it or not, we haven't always done this for a living. And of course, this is not Keith's main occupation now. It's just a side gig that he's shockingly and sickeningly good at. But once upon a time, we
if my internet
yeah.
doesn't improve, I might not have this job much longer either.
But we were once upon a time teenage or young adult wage slaves, and we had terrible
Sure.
jobs. Keith, tell me about the worst job you ever had, or just a hilarious or terrible moment at a job that you had back in the day once upon a time.
Dude, I get so many. I get so many. Like you asked me. So me and Ben, we don't do any talk for the show except for this. This is the only thing we talk. Well, actually, that's not true. We do two things. I sent a text message about 5 minutes before the card, sometimes even after the card started, and I'll say, "Hey Ben, let's match make," and I list certain fighters, like winner of this fight, this person, and then depending on whose week it is to pick a question, I'll say, "Hey, it's your turn to pick a question." He'll shoot me what the question is. That's it. That's all our prep. We don't do any other prep. As shocking a show like this doesn't have hours of practice, but I don't know. I've had a lot of shitty jobs. Like I once worked in it was a place called Baker's Acres up in when I lived in upstate New York, where all I did was like plant flowers all day long. Like, and I and I used to like just like soil, fertilizer, plant, water, put it out for sale, and I do that all day. I thought it was a pretty like a monkey could have done that job. Obviously, when I was in the army, like I remember being in Iraq and like we had to shit in cans, and then you have to burn it. And someone's duty is to burn like it's not even just your shit; it's everybody's shit, and you have to burn it. But but burning it just gets the top layer, so you got ashy, so you have to fucking mix it up and shit like a soup, and then burn some more, then mix it up. Yeah, that's a pretty shitty job, literally. I remember working I worked at a call center for like 3 months. God, that was terrible. All I did was it was a like refinancing mortgage company. I don't know how to get the leads or whatever. They have like a list of people, and it's probably like 100 names, and all they would do is pick up, ring. People wouldn't answer. Next ring. And then if I got one person who wanted to, I had this like little sales thing I had to read. And if they said, yeah, I'm like, all right, I'm going to transfer you. And I transfer to somebody. And I remember calling like the same. It had to be like I almost had like the phone numbers memorized, like the same 100 people. And I remember one time, finally, a guy that I called 300 times picks up the phone, and without even me saying anything, he just flips out like, "You fucking people keep calling me every fucking day." I just keep yelling. And I remember sitting there listening to this guy yelling and just thinking, "Dude, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right." But I got one. I'll give you one last one. I worked my very first job. I worked at a place called Tommy's Pizza, and it was like peak of my wrestling in high school. I was cutting weight. I was the bus boy / food runner, and it was a very small place. It's like one waitress, one cook, and me. And I remember like the thing about that place, they would load the pepperoni on, and I'm like cutting weight and smelling pepperoni, and I'd always pull a couple off as I delivered the pizza. But the cook there convinced me to leave with him to go to this other restaurant called Mayanelli's, which actually closed. But at one time, it was on one of those bar rescues or something like that. And like it was on, I don't know, with TNT or something like that. And then it closed like 6 months later. But the same side note, the same cook got arrested for robbing a convenience store right next door to Mayanelli's. Like he wouldn't get recognized, but that's who I was taking life advice when I was 16. But I made $5 an hour, and Mayanelli's was willing to pay me $5.25. And I was a high school kid, so I worked like $20, 20 hours a week. So I made, what is that at 25 cents? What is that, like extra $5 a week or some shit?
Oh,
right? No,
that's
right. 20 hours.
I can't do math right now. I'm normally pretty good at math, but
okay,
my brain is
$5,
fried.
$6, whatever it is. I think it's $4, $5, $6. I think it's $5. So for an extra $5 a week, I became a prep cook / I had to clean these huge pots and pans, and I'd be scraping these big pots and pans, and then I had to make the salads, like the big huge antipasta salads. So it would be like, I don't know, like a fancy Italian antipasta salad. But I was 16 years old, and I never ate tomatoes, so no one ever showed me how to cut tomatoes. So there I was making $5 more a fucking week right? And I would take these tomatoes, and you know how you hold the tomato like this? You hold it like this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you cut. No one ever showed me how to do that. So I would hold the tomato like this. I'm trying to get my hand in the camera, like this. But my hands are all wet and slippery because I was just washing the dishes, and I'd have this big, huge ass butcher knife.
And that's why Keith has 7 fingers right now.
Oh my God. I sliced my fingers. You wouldn't believe how many freaking times. Then I'm bleeding in the salad. I got to restart the whole salad over again, but I'm taping my hand up, but it's super busy for $5 an hour. Now, if someone offered me $5 to cut tomatoes, I'd take the antipasta and I'd slap it right across a person's face. I'm glad that place closed. The bar restaurant, you couldn't save them because you know what? People didn't like eating my blood. Anyways, Ben, what was yours?
Oh man, Paul Vivret says Boomer stories. You want Boomer? Paul,
yeah.
You want
I said $5 an hour.
When no. My first job was at Arby's, and when they raised the federal minimum wage to $4.20 an hour, I had to get a raise. That's how fucking old I am. But I'm not here to talk about my first job. I'm here to talk about my second job, because when I quit at Arby's when I was like 16, my second job ever was I went and worked at Chuck E. Cheese. Like, I remember being 8 years old and thinking, going to parties at Chuck E. Cheese, wishing my parents would have my birthday at Chuck E. Cheese, seeing the Chuck E. Cheese suit and thinking that was my dream job. Like, I no longer wanted to be an astronaut or a football player or a dinosaur like I wanted to be when I was 4. I wanted to be the guy in the Chuck E. Cheese suit. So I went and got a job at Chuck E. Cheese, and I should have suspected something when at my first day on the job, I was like, hey man, so can I wear the Chuck E. Cheese suit? And everybody was happy to let me. Like, in hindsight, that should have been a sign. So I get in the Chuck E. Cheese suit. It is this huge ratty fursuit. I mean, you can picture Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
The body is full of styrofoam.
Yeah.
The head, it's this, I mean, the head of the suit is like 3 feet wide and is held on your head with like this halo type thing, you know, the kind of thing that looks like somebody broke their neck and they've got the little thing around here, but it's like got little rods holding it to the head. And you look out, yeah, like this little, pads. Yeah, exactly. Like Vinny Paz. And you look out this little screen in the bottom of the chin, but so you're in this enclosed plastic helmet. I grew up in Maryland. It's extremely hot in summer. This thing had not been washed in the 15 years the restaurant had been open. How would you wash a thing like that? So the body was full of these old sweat stains. The head just had years and years of teenagers breathing and sweat condensation had just run down it. Like, it was just slimy and sticky inside. It smelled like you were wearing a homeless dude's boxers for a hat. And
Ben, do you remember a couple weeks ago? I think I bought that freaking that mouse face hat. Remember?
Yeah.
When we were talking about things we bought, and I bought a mouse mask. I think I bought it. Anyways.
And I should have realized this from when I was 8 and thought this was a dream job, because I was the 8-year-old that was walking around and pulling on Chuck E. Cheese's tail and asking him for tokens, like I have pockets to keep tokens in this fucking fursuit. It was a couple of the longest Saturdays of my life just running these birthday parties and just having a bunch of sugar-fried 5-year-olds like yanking on my tail and yelling in my face, and then the 10-year-olds that think they're cooler like looking up under my little screen in the chin that I used to not trip over my own feet and being like, oh, I can see the guy in there. It's a guy and it's a human in there. Really? You're surprised that it's a human in the suit, that it's not an actual 7-foot tall mouse? You fucking idiot. But that's not even the grossest thing about this job. The grossest thing about this job, and this seems to be a theme for Shillan as well as Duffy, it was the salads. This particular Chuck E. Cheese had a salad bar with, you know, like 30 different items. You get your lettuce, your croutons, your chickpeas, your little scoop of cheese. But it had this ring of kale all around the edges of the chill table just to make it look green and fresh. You know, kale, it's like this hearty, dark green, leafy stuff.
Sure, yeah.
After my third Saturday out of 5 Saturdays that I worked there before quitting, I closed on a Saturday. and they showed me how to close a salad bar. And they're like, okay, go into the walk-in. There's a bucket, like a 5-gallon bucket of water. Go get that bucket and bring it out here. So I bring out this 5-gallon bucket that's full of what looks like old mop water. It's like gray. And they're like, put all the kale in there. I'm like, okay. So I put the kale in there. They're like, okay, now take that back into the walk-in and bring out, there should be a bucket with kale in there. Go get that. So I go back, I bring out this 5-gallon bucket that looks basically identical, but this is kale that's been in there for a couple of days. And they're like, okay, go ahead and put that out. I'm like, so you guys just have 2 batches of kale that you switch back and forth? And they're like, yeah, cold water, man. It makes old kale into new kale. So I put it out. It's slimy. Like this kale is slimy. It's still like stiff, but it's like slimy and kind of gray underneath.
Yeah.
I'm like, how old is this kale? And the manager thinks about it for a minute. He's like, probably, I don't know, 6 weeks, 7 weeks. After that, I started paying attention, and so many people, as they were getting their salad, would take kale off of there and put it on their salad, just thinking it was like part of the food. And I'm like, I'm actually getting sick to my stomach thinking of it right now. These dudes eating ancient kale that probably, worst job I ever had. And dude, I was not a guy that bounced from job to job. My first job at Arby's, I was there for almost 2 years. My next job after Chuck E. Cheese was at a hardware store. I was at like for 5 years, including coming back from college in the summers. But that job, I was there for a month and a half. It was so disgusting. People say never meet your idols. No, never get your dream job. Because between Chuck E. Cheese and now working in MMA media, I can tell you, it's vastly overrated.
At least this didn't have blood in the kale. That's a good thing.
There may have been blood in the kale, but it wasn't mine. Or I'd probably be dead now.
I always tell you, let me tell you 2 more quick ones, and then I promise we'll go on. When these are not mine, my dad's. When I was like 13 or 14, me and my friends, we snuck out at like midnight. We used to do it all the time. And like I had like I lived in like I slept in like the basement. I could sneak out the window. And my dad started working like a 3rd shift job at a convenience store. I had no idea. Like I think he was kind of like didn't want to tell us. So and me and my friends would like go into like convenience stores at like midnight and like I don't know, steal like Slim Jims and Butterfingers and shit. And I walk in this convenience store and it's my dad, and I snuck out and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. And then my dad always tells the story when he was he got a job at a donut shop and he worked there for 1 day. But he worked at a donut shop for 1 hour. The guy shows him how to make like donuts. He goes in there. He's like he has to be there at like 4 a.m. He can make like the donuts. It wasn't a Dunkin' Donuts, but it was like that. And he starts making donuts. He's messing it all up, and then finally just says "F this" and he leaves. Throws the keys in the mailbox. No donuts made. No nothing. Just guy coming in the next day. Like what the hell? No muffins. Anyways, all right. Let's move on. Let's get back to the action. Probably the fight that matters most in the rankings. Ketlen Vieira took on Maycee Barber. Ketlen Vieira winning by unanimous decision. I should note that it really doesn't matter in the actual rankings because the fight got moved to 145 due to Ketlen Vieira having issues on the scale. That said, I don't think this matters if it was at 135, 145. I think Chasan's game plan was terrible. Her trying to wrestle Ketlen Vieira, who's already shown against like Kayla Harrison that she is a tough out in the clinch in those grimy areas. I think this was the perfect match for Ketlen Vieira. She got exactly the type of fight she wanted.
And unnecessarily, because for the first half of the first round, Chasan was popping her at range. She was sticking and moving, and then all of a sudden, she decided to fight a Ketlen Vieira fight. I was kind of impressed when she shot a takedown in space at the beginning of the second round. I just wished it had come against anyone other than Ketlen Vieira, because if that's a weapon Chasan wants to add to her arsenal, brilliant. Not many women, especially at 135, will shoot a single or a double leg takedown in space. They are all clinch takedowns. It's just don't do it to somebody that when you grab hold of her, she's like, well, don't threaten me with a good time, and you go down and lose the round.
Yeah. Yeah. She like judo threw her on the face. Let me ask you this question. When we think about the division, Vera, I mean, she's not the sexiest name. She's not the sexiest style. She's not, Kayla Harrison's the name of the division, and obviously Amanda Nunes and Julian Pena and a bunch of other people. That said, Kayla Vera is a tough out for anybody. I mean, even against Kayla Harrison, like Kayla won, but she didn't trash her. Like, could in the right scenario, Caitlin Vera won a title?
Yes. Right scenario. Like, if it was Vieira fighting Juliana Pena in a little bit, would either of those women be your lock of the night?
No.
No.
The reason why I was asking it, if we went back, I don't know, 3 years ago, and Raquel Pennington had a good performance, and I asked you the question, is there a scenario where Raquel Pennington wins the title? We'd probably all say no. Like, oh, she probably never win the title, and then she did. I kind of feel that way about Caitlin Vera. Like, I'm not expecting her to win the title, but I could see her having one of these late career. Everyone kind of gave up on it. She just keeps grinding along, and then she gets the right fight at the right time, and now she's champion.
Yep, I agree with you. Having said all that, missing weight is actually less forgivable than losing a fight. Like, it's
Yeah, well, it should be. UFC doesn't treat it that way.
They used to once upon a time. You and I, and probably a lot of people watching, can remember a time where you would be like, no, the UFC will never, ever, ever put someone into a title fight off of a fight in which they missed weight.
Remember the reaction when Charles Oliveira missed weight for the
Yep.
actual defending the title?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That wasn't that long ago. Compare that to now. It's I will say this: being that division is so shallow, like she still has to take up a step up in competition, and it's tough to matchmake her because she's been in the division so long and she's kind of fought the who's who in the division.
Yep.
I'm going to give it Norma Dumont.
It's almost the last name.
That's like, kind of what I was getting to.
If Vieira ever did win a title, it's going to be a Alexandre Pantoja thing where, like, okay, now what do you do?
Yeah. Where'd you have her? Is that the same name you had, Dumont?
Yeah, and for what it's worth, I mean, off the cuff, I favor Dumont, but Dumont sometimes has a tendency to come in with weird game plans too. And
Vieira's a tough out for anybody. I don't know if she's a tough out.
Especially if you give her a Ketlin Vieira fight.
Yep. Yeah. Shazam, what are you doing with her?
I don't know. I am usually better with these, but this is the stuff that I was going to do during the main event.
Yeah.
You guys are seeing behind the curtain on the Shillan and Duffy show here. Like, I got a half hour less to prepare than I was expecting.
Yeah. Like I'm doing the ticker when they're walking out to the cage. I'm doing stuff like that. I'm setting up my mic and everything. Obviously, I'm not setting up my internet. I think my internet's back up to speed. I think now, but everyone probably already left now because of it. I'm kind of using Shazam to get over somebody else. I shouldn't say get over someone, but be the test for somebody else who kind of deserves it. Someone that has always really been counted out, but just keeps winning. I'm going to give her Jocelyn Edwards. She's on a winning streak. I kind of feel like she deserves to step up in competition.
And you know what? I like that just fine. And it sounds like a terrible stylistic matchup for Edwards, but you know what? If you're a 135 pounder with lousy takedown defense, it's bad stylistic matchups all the way up. So might as well see if you can deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Before that, the fight that was supposed to be the banger of the card, the can't miss slugfest, Dusko Todorovic took on Zach Reese in a pretty disappointing, boring fight that Zach Reese won by unanimous decision. I don't remember who it was in the chat, but really, really early on, someone asked a question: did Dusko Todorovic get screwed by the judges? I don't think so. I thought he clearly lost the second and third round.
I thought the third was close.
Okay.
I wasn't watching it with a mind towards scoring, but
Yeah,
even though
not like it's a recap show or anything afterwards.
yeah, like just you know that the fight has become bad and taken a bad turn when you hear things out of the announcers like, oh, here I got him. Dusko Todorovic goes to work in his opponent's full guard. That is a combination
Yeah.
of words that if you say them in that order, that should like open the Darkhold or the Necronomicon or something. And then the next round, like Dusko needs to get this back to the ground, says Lorosenko. I'm not disagreeing with her. I'm just like, if they're saying that about a Dusko Todorovic fight, things have gone badly downhill. Like this was bad. It was a fight between two fighters with some obvious flaws, and the
Yeah.
flaws just played out in the worst possible way for everybody involved.
Yeah, I think I got thumbs down for both guys. I mean, technically, or probably this is the biggest name on Zach Reese's record. Like his best win,
Yep.
but it wasn't a good showing. I really feel like he could have got that out of there if he tightened up his shots a little bit, stopped overthrowing. As the broadcast team pointed out, I think that was actually true, and just upped the volume because Todorovic gasped probably about 6 or 7 minutes in. I mean, he's all the wrestling he did in the first round, I think, really slowed him out for the rest of the way. And Reese just was like playing with his food, didn't put it on him, and it just was like
And
both of them looked bad.
late, I think Reese was getting gassed too because he was just throwing one strike, waiting 5 seconds, throwing another strike. Like, I mean, he threw a pretty question mark kick in the third round, but just not enough gas to even just string two strikes together, especially because I'm sure he was apprehensive about getting taken down again. Yeah, like just both guys had their opportunities and just neither of them took it. And we ended up with just a blah fight.
Before that, Alan Nascimento took on Jafel Fila, winning Nascimento winning by unanimous decision. Also got to point out that Nascimento missed weight for this one, missed by a pound. We basically had kind of like combat BJJ matchup. A lot of wrestling, a lot of grappling, not a lot of striking.
That's pretty much it, man. Like I will make the distinction sometimes on our previews or on our recaps between what a fighter knows how to do, like what skills they have, and what they actually do when the bullets start flying, which is just goes, to their mentality, their muscle memory, just what their heart is as a fighter. Nascimento is a good technical kickboxer. Like I'm sure in the gym he just lights some people up, but when fists start flying in the cage, he just clearly wants things to be on the ground. So does Filio. I picked Filio in this one in what would have been a mild upset. I'm not mad at it. It ended up being a very close fight. And again, if the fighter who missed weight edges out a narrow third round over the one who didn't miss weight, I'm still comfortable with my pick. Having said that, it was a fun combat BJJ match. Like I enjoyed it. Like
Yeah, I was watching it and I picked Nascimento to win, but I'm watching this fight and I'm like, he won and I thought he obviously won the second and third round, but like I don't feel like Nascimento's the better fighter. Watching these two guys, I just feel like he has the better fight IQ because to me, Fiallo had this match. He was the better fighter, and he just gave it away by rushing submission, losing positions. I think it was the third round when he had, I think he had Nascimento's back, or no, it was the second round. He dominated the first round, almost finished him. Had the second round, he rode too high, tried to get an armbar, missed it, ended up on bottom, and he just gave away the second round and the third. And then the same thing, kind of similar situation happened in the third round. I don't remember the exact exchange, but I'm like, dude, Fiallo, if you had more control, if you fought like the second or third, either round, like the way Nascimento went, where it was like all about positioning before, he would have won that fight.
yeah, it was that close. And I think you're right that it really came down to Filio just being a little less relaxed and composed in the grappling. And when you're going against a guy who is bigger, stronger, more patience, and about as fundamentally sound as you are, you're probably going to lose rounds that way. I'm totally with you.
Nascimento, yeah, he's won 3 fights in a row. Has been really spaced out. It's been 3 fights in 3 years, but I think he's a solid flyweight. I don't think he'll be a title contender or anything like that. But are you believing him at all?
No, but
No, maybe.
but I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see his next fight. Like there was a lot of wait and see just for this fight out of me, and he showed up and fought well, so I'm good.
Yeah, I mean flyweight. I'm always excited to see flyweights. But
Yeah.
before that, Kurt Hollabaugh took on Jordan Levitt. Jordan Levitt winning by first round sub. Before we get to the actual action, thank God, Jordan Levitt is not going to be twerking anymore. So I think that's a sight that not many people in the MMA will want to see. So,
but everybody held their breath. Yeah, everyone was holding their breath when he did the Johnny Walker worm. I'm like, please, just don't injure yourself doing that.
Yeah, especially what DC told him to. Imagine if he did injure himself. Levitt, the dance was okay. As far as the fight, you got to give him an A+. He just steamrolled Kurt Hollabaugh. Went in there, took him down. Hollabaugh tried to stop. He suplexed him on his face. Oh, he didn't really he like mat return. He had a big mat return on his face. And then eventually Hollabaugh tried to scramble. He got caught in an anaconda choke, and it was a wrap. Levitt, I mean, it was a flawless victory.
Yep. People in the chat calling us out. We are normally extremely reliable on our consensus underdog picks. Yeah. This is a consensus underdog pick that did not go well at all. I mean, I still think if these guys fight 10 times, it probably goes close to 5-5. But knowing that going in that the problem is that Levitt is a good offensive grappler and not great at getting things to the ground on his terms, knowing that he was going to get this easy a takedown this early, it would have been pretty easy to call the fight for him. Like if he's able to take down fighters above the Kurt Hollabaugh level that easily, or then he has greater upside in the division than I gave him credit for. But yeah, I mean, if he's fighting a guy that's a fellow grappler and ends up on top of him in the first 30 seconds, he is going to do work. There are people in the division that he's going to beat real bad if you're willing to spot him that big an advantage.
Yeah, he knew he had advantage. I think it was smart for him to initiate the grappling because Hollabaugh is a pretty good topside grappler himself. So best thing to do against topside grapplers is put them on their back. I think that was really smart. So good of Levitt. Before that, a fight that we did not get to preview got thrown in on days' notice as different opponents dropped out. Balaji Oki took on Michael Aswell. I'm glad Aswell got his opportunity. Good.
We do our best. We try to do the previews far enough in advance that people have a chance to listen all week. We can actually do some kind of numbers, but late enough that stuff like half the card doesn't change. Well, half of this card changed, but usually half the card doesn't change before fight night.
Sure.
There may be nobody in the entire MMA space, at least at major sites, better prepared to preview a Michael Aswell fight than me. And
you didn't get to.
Sorry guys, you didn't get my you didn't get my expertise on this one. I've
his
watched his fight since he was an amateur. I've seen definitely over half his fights live and in person. I've been around him and his coaches for a long time. I'm pretty familiar with his skill set. I'm glad he's in the UFC. And yeah, well, it sounds like I'll be previewing his next fight.
Yeah, I mean, if you did, you would have said that he's too big for him. He hits too hard. He's going to work up to the body. He might have Aswell's going to have moments late in the first, and you pick Oki to win by decision.
I can't hear you, Keith. You are mute.
Oh, you can't hear me. You can't hear me. You can't hear me, Ben.
All right, I'm good. Oh, so it's just that I can't hear him. All right.
Oh,
well, let me rejoin real quick.
All right, I'm gonna keep talking then, and I don't know what happened to Ben. Let me take this banner off for a second. So you don't have this thing going right down my. Let's see. All right, Ben's back. Let's see. Ben, can you
I'm
hear
back,
me?
and I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, I think it's my internet. I don't know what's going on.
No.
So I was saying is that you didn't get a chance to preview Michael Aswell, but what you would have said was that Aswell would have moments in this fight, especially near the end of the first round, might catch Oki a little bit, but ultimately Oki was going to be too big, too fast for him, work his body too much, and probably win a unanimous decision.
Okay, I can't say that, but what I would have said is that as well as a guy stepping up on short notice, he's already a super aggro fighter. He's going to know that his best chance against a guy that's been in a full training camp is just to throw the kitchen sink at him early and see if anything sticks. I thought he did a decent job at that. I thought he won the first round, and he hung on pretty well for the rest of the fight. I thought it was a solid short notice appearance.
Yeah, I thought it was a good performance. Not bad at all. I think he should have wrestled a little bit. I think that might have helped him against a guy like Oki. But the best call I think you had was Alice Ardeline defeating Riani Dos Santos, Riani Amanda. Adeline won by unanimous decision. It was a really fun fight. Like the card started off pretty fun for two really low level fighters. I'll say this: Adeline looked great. I mean, physically, she's always been very strong. She looked even better shape than she's been. Very ripped. Her output was great. She was hitting hard. She definitely had a big size advantage. Dos Santos, she was one thing they kept telling. I always call it like admiring her work, where you strike, you throw a combination, and you kind of stay still in the range, see it if it lands, and then you get tagged. Had some ugly entries, no head movement. She's 0-3 in the UFC, but I thought this was her worst performance. She looked terrible. And a fun fight.
It was a fun fight, but she kind of started doing some work in the last round when Ardelan slowed down a little bit, which, I mean, that only makes sense as one of these fighters actually has to cut weight and the other one doesn't. But yeah, she did not look great here against a fighter that jury is still out over whether she's still going to be in the UFC in a year. But having said that, Ardelan, as somebody that has taken multi-year-long absences from fighting and whose biggest claim to fame coming into the UFC was her OnlyFans and her reputation for being like gym poison by like stealing other fighters' boyfriends, or like, she is showing the benefit of being able to train full time and maybe taking things a little more seriously now. Whatever her ceiling is as a fighter, I think we are starting to get the best Alice Ardelan. So, hey, congratulations to her. She got an uncontroversial win here, and she looked pretty good.
Yeah, she definitely did look good. So there you guys have it. We covered all 9 fights. It seems like the old, I don't know, what are we in, 2008, days or something. But let's get to the fun stuff. Let's get to the Bulls and Bears, like cut list and all that stuff. Let's go with the Bulls and the Bears. Are you all right with that?
I'm absolutely okay with that. I'll tell you right now, it was tough to find 3 Bulls, but
I agree. I think it's going to be a very one of the really low scores on the grade. So I'll try to be positive early because I think we're getting a lot of negatives. You mind if I go first?
Absolutely, go for it.
All right. So the way the Bulls and Bears work, the Bulls and Bears stock market reference. You want to be on the Bulls list. You don't want to be in the Bears list. We do it hockey style, like the stars of the night, 3, 2, 1. So my number 3, Dustin Jacobe. I mean, back-to-back wins late in his career. Not just that he's winning, but he's kind of turned around. And in that division, it's not that hard to be like a top 10 guy. If he wins one more, he's probably getting in the rankings, in the Sherdog rankings. So Dustin Jacobe. Number 2, Jordan Levitt, dude. The guy looked fantastic. He ran through, beating Kurt Hallbaugh is not the best win, but the way he did it just absolutely dominated, pulling the post. And my number 1, it's going to be the fighter in the co-main event, or I should say the main event. It should have been the co-main event. Mateusz Gamrot. He's won 4 out of his last 5 fights. He's calling out I think he's making a proper call out, like Justin Gaethje. Though it's kind of random that he went Justin Gaethje and then he went Saint Denis. It was like that's kind of a fairly big gap between the two, but he has like his consolation prize. So it's like you have that, like you're at the bar and it's 11 o'clock and it's like an absolute smoke show at the bar and you're like, fuck it, you're feeling good. You got a couple beers and you're like, I'm gonna try it. And then you look at and you see like another girl. It's like, yeah, she's kind of cute over there. And you go to like the smoke show and you get turned down. Then all of a sudden you start talking to the girl who's like kind of cute. That's kind of like what Gamrot was doing. So, what do you have for Bulls?
I agree with all yours. So rather than pile 3 more on, I will just add 2. I already mentioned it just recently, but Alice Ardeleon, she is somebody that if you'd asked me ahead of her debut, I was like, she's going to get 0 wins in the UFC. She'll fight 3 times and then be gone and may literally never fight again. Instead, hey, she has a win and she has at least 1 more fight. And you know what? That's fantastic. That good for her. I will also throw in Ramiz Brahimaj. When you pull an upset as the biggest underdog on the card, whether that line seemed to be justified or not, when you make submission grappling look that violent, because that was like some UFC 2 Pat Smith just lifting a dude by his windpipe that doesn't know how to defend it level violence on a guillotine choke, you get on my Bulls list. So yeah, that's it. Alice Ardeleon, Ramiz Brahimaj, congratulations.
All right, let's go to the Bears list. This is the list you do not want to be on. The same thing we do 3, 2, 1. Ben, I'll let you kick it off.
Okay. Number 3 seemed to be a bad night for weighing in. I don't have the official numbers yet, but this has to be high on the all-time list for fights that were altered, canceled, or rescheduled due to weight cutting problems. I mean, just coming into this, we had Trevin Giles, who slipped and fell while cutting weight for a short notice appearance, 10 pounds up from his usual weight class, scratched that fight. Nascimento, Vieira, Barber, and Barber missing weight got even worse by the end of the night. So 22 fighters scheduled to fight. Like at least 4 of them missed weight, meaning 8 of the 22 fighters on the card were affected by weight cutting issues. That's a bad look.
I feel bad for Gustafsson. That guy, man. It's like he guy's been booked like 10 times to fight. He can't get a fight. He can't get his UFC debut. Jeez.
It's getting to be comical for sure.
Yeah, much as I hate, he is booked a week from now against Cass Williams, but still.
Yep. Much as it pains me to say it, not a great night for Texas. Trevin Giles slipped and fell. Maycee Barber lost. Zach Reese won, but after leaving his usual gym to train in Nevada for this one. Yeah, not a great night for Texas in the octagon tonight. A little bit of redemption.
As well
from Houston, more than my area, from my town, lost. I mean, I'll take a little bit of redemption.
I like when you call Houston a town.
Yeah, a little town called Houston. Ramiz Brahimaj is from New York, but has been training in Texas. So we'll, if we lose Zach Reese, we'll take some of Ramiz Brahimaj's credit. So yeah, not a great night for Texas. And for me, the most obvious bear in maybe the history of the Shillan and Duffy recap, it's got to be Maycee Barber. She's gone from, I was expecting to have to talk about whether she's next in line for a title shot if she beat Erin Blanchfield, to just wondering out loud, will she ever come back from this? Like, is her career over? Does she have to move up in, like, the change in narrative within the last 36 hours and then within the last 3 hours, bears don't get any bigger than this. Like, sort of life and death stuff, they don't get any bigger than this.
Yeah. Obviously Maycee Barber is number 1 on my list too. So I'll give you 3 new ones. I'm going to go with Fel Fiallo. I really feel like he gave that fight away. It was right there. He's going to pick up the biggest win of his career and just gave away the fight. My number 2, I'm not a guy who gets too into this, but the pacing was terrible tonight. It felt like a PFL pacing. I felt like I was watching more promos than I was watching fights. And I know we had some early stoppages and that happens, but like when you say the card starts at 6:30 and the first fight doesn't actually happen until about 7:10 or something, 7:15, I was like, come on, guys. And I had to dig a little deep. How about Misty Betts? Good. Did you catch the pro when she was talking and she kept messing up and they
It
didn't
was
cut
on
it out?
mute.
Like, first of all, why isn't Misty Betts already like pre-recorded? They just go to the reel of her saying it like their promos. She's saying like, I'm gonna go with oh, I'm sorry. Can we do it again? And then she's like, I'm gonna go with yeah. She didn't realize it was live and she was doing like a bunch of cuts or something. I don't know. Somebody said they think she was reading a teleprompter and it went out. Or I shouldn't be sitting there talking shit with all the problems we've had tonight. But we don't work for the UFC, so we can throw rocks from our glass house.
Yep.
Let's go to the Cutlass. I got a big one. I got 4 people. How many you got, Ben?
I have one. I have 2, but I could be talked into cutting more because part of me wants to cut 18 people tonight, but
Okay.
obviously not really.
So
But I've never. I don't think I've ever watched the UFC fight card where I wanted not to ever see more winning fighters than after tonight.
Okay. Okay. So the way the cut list works is if both me and Ben have a name on the cut list, we tell the UFC it's time to get rid of them. MMA Rack starts off with cutting Minty Betts. Bob Simpson's cutting Kettle Bear for some reason. How about this? You name your 2 names and I'll tell you who you saved. So start with your first name.
Okay. As far as I'm concerned, actually I have 3. Much as I hate to say it, Rayane Amanda dos Santos can go. Just if the UFC wants to send her to Invicta or send her over to like Deep or Ryzen or somebody that has an atomweight division and bring her back when they have an atomweight division, I think that's a good idea. But just this isn't working. So Rayane Amanda dos Santos, is she one of yours?
Yeah, I actually thought she won her first 2 UFC fights, but officially she's 0-3 in the UFC, so it's time. It's just not working out for her. Who else you got?
I shouldn't, and it's not going to happen because I'm pretty sure he just signed a new contract, but I'd let Kurt Holobaugh go. He's like 38 years old. He just got absolutely throttled by a guy that, as far as we know, is still kind of a middling lightweight. And he just lost by, Kurt Holobaugh's on my list.
Yeah. Dude's 38. He's 1-3 his last 4. He's 2-7 total in the UFC. I am also cutting Kurt Holobaugh. So we got one more name. Let's see what the last one was, Ben.
My last one is Dusko Todorovic. This fight was closer than the final scores indicated, but he's lost 3 in a row, 4 of his last 5, 5 of his last 7.
6 of his last 8.
I don't think he has a win over anybody still on UFC roster unless Jordan Wright still happens to be.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So there you go. I agree. I had Dusko Todorovic. The name you're saving, I was getting rid of Billy Goff. You're the biggest fan of the card. You get ran through. That's not a good look. I would have got rid of Billy Goff. But Ben saves the New Englander. He has a soft spot for the New England.
For your Boston style face first strikers, your Boston style apparently neck first grapplers. I'm here for him. Give him one more chance.
All right. Let's get the dude seriously. Ben, do you have any dude seriouslys?
I mean, I have one, and you chimed into the scoring chat in the middle of fight night to make the same observation, but I'm totally going to steal it. When we had our flyweight fight between Nascimento and Filio, and I either right before or right after the second round, Daniel Cormier goes, "This is not the fight I expected from these guys." It's 2 Brazilian flyweights with a combined 320 submission wins between them. What did you expect, Daniel? That was exactly the fight we expected. Like, dude, seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
You already talked about.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, you already talked about Minty Betts like blowing a circuit and like glitching out like some android that people poured water into. you know, I had the sound off, but I could tell things were going wrong. Marcus Mustard. Nascimento had 2 years to make weight, dude. Seriously.
Dude, seriously, nice job, Marcus. Joseph Gasparian said,
Joseph Gasparian, Billy
Billy
Goff might
Goff.
have been the. Oh, getting
Yeah.
in more digs at Southern New England, specifically Rhode Island.
That's right.
Them's fighting words.
Yeah. Yeah. Saying how both New England is, yeah. Oh, I missed the Know Your Host, but I got your guys' answer for the greatest HBO show of all time. Yeah, Antoine Willis keeps asking. Antoine Willis has good questions. The Wire is The Wire, unless you count Band of Brothers. To me, I don't count Band of Brothers because it's like a mini series, but Band of Brothers is way up there too. So, but I pretty much love everything on HBO. All right, I'll give you some. You have any more? Or
nope, those are the ones I had.
Okay. I already, I'm gonna cut one. I already talked about the no fights for the first 40 minutes. How about Oki having this epic entrance and he to walk out to what 25 people in the crowd? Like, come on, guys, get it? Like, dude, seriously? Like, I give him credit. He wanted to have this moment where he's waiting and the crowd cheers him, and he's like, dude, there's more people. There'll be more people in my church tomorrow than this. Like, dude, seriously. And I only got one more, dude. Seriously, DC. When I don't remember who it was. I think it might have been Dustin Jacobe. I'm not really. I think it had to be Dustin Jacobe because he said, "Yeah, a famous singer once said, age ain't nothing but a number." And I'm like, dude, seriously? Like, you're quoting the song by Aaliyah that was written when she was being sexually assaulted by R. Kelly, and you're using it as a positive. Like, dude, seriously?
Yeah, like
she was 12 years old and R. Kelly was like 25, and like, dude, seriously?
Like, either come up with your own wisdom or at least research what's behind the catchphrases you use. That was a bad look. Good call, man. Yeesh.
Yeah. Yeah. I know he didn't mean anything by it, and I'm sure he doesn't know the backstory.
No, he has no idea where it came from.
Some shit.
Yeah.
So Antoine Willis keeps asking. I guess he said he didn't get an answer. So you got my answer. My not just the best HBO show, I believe the best TV show of all time is The Wire. And then I said my bit about Ben Brothers. So putting Ben on the spot, what is the greatest HBO series?
I mean, it's easy to just go Sopranos.
Pretty good answer.
It's easy to go with, Game of Thrones up through the last 2 seasons. Yeah, I mean, The Sopranos is the easy answer, but I don't see any reason.
Yeah.
What's that?
I go right to the last season. I actually like the second to last season. The last season was terrible, but Game of Thrones was right up there for me. But so you're going with The Sopranos?
Yeah, I mean, and my wife and I rewatched it within the last 5 years. It stands up pretty well. Yeah,
it's great. Juice X. Go outside the box and go Deadwood. I enjoy Deadwood, but nobody likes it as the best show ever. Stop it. Here we go. We got this. Here we go. This is the guy. If you were hanging out and you're like, someone was like, "Hey, what's your favorite season?" He'd say, "Oh, my favorite season is winter." Like, no, it's not. You're so full of shit. You're not enjoying the 75 degrees we have right now as we're having a cookout and and drinking beers by campfire. No, you'd rather have it cold. Okay, I got it. Right, sure. That's the Deadwood answer.
And now that I know that Timothy Oliphant's shows are just all the same, you go from Deadwood to Justified, and Justified is just modern Deadwood. And then he was on the Star Wars show and it was just Deadwood in space. He just always plays this Old West sheriff type dude. I'm like, wow, you are really highly regarded for the most one-dimensional actor I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, anyway. So you're saying he's like Al Pacino?
Yeah, he's like Al Pacino. Yes.
Like the most overrated actor of all time. He plays the same role in every single one. Like when he did that, what movie where he has to talk all loud, and then every show,
all of them in the last 30 years.
Yeah, he wasn't like that. Godfather 1, but as it gone on, the one he did with Chris O'Donnell. Dude, remember he did that movie with Chris O'Donnell where he talks all I don't know.
One more, he's like the devil.
It might have been. He might have been.
Yeah.
And then he's like,
No.
yeah. And he's like, and then every movie he did had to talk like that.
Yeah. Well, they made a Godfather video game in like the late 90s or early 2000s, and he couldn't voice Michael Corleone because he can't talk like that anymore.
Yeah.
Like he can't do the soft spoken menace thing anymore. Like his
Scent of Woman. He did that character and like just became that character forever.
I love that we're just talking about like HBO shows instead of this card.
Dude, I wish we just did that. I wish we did the TV shows and talking about random actors for the entire show. Just do that for those shows. I'm talking about this.
My letter grade for this card is, so what's better, HBO or what's better, Sopranos or The Wire? That's the whole letter grade for this card.
Yeah.
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 The letter grade for this card is, should Antoine watch Breaking Bad? The answer is yes, and the answer is also that's the letter grade for this card.
Yeah.
The letter grade for this card is don't eat the kale at a salad bar at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
Like the letter grade for this card is, don't go work at a flower nursery in upstate New York.
Yeah.
Like,
this is
the amount that we've spent talking about other shit on the show tells you everything you need to know about this card.
I just started naming everything I had wrong with every single job I ever had. I started naming things my dad's jobs, so that's how we're going down. We didn't get the awards. Did they give out awards for this card?
They
Ben,
did.
Ben,
they
how
did.
about this? I didn't want to guess. Just give it to me. I don't care.
Okay.
Jordan Levitt.
They agreed to send every viewer a gift certificate for $25 for Venom gear. That's the awards. All 4,000 viewers
get some Minelli's gift cards.
Yeah.
Do we have awards though?
Yeah, there was a fight of the night and 2 performances of the night, and they're exactly the ones you would think.
Okay, let's hear them. What are they?
Fight of the night, Arte Leon versus Rayani Dos Santos.
Agreed.
Performances of the night go to Brahimaj and Levitt. And if this isn't the first card in
Jacobe
5 years, where both performances of the night went to submissions, it has to have been a couple of years.
Okay, but yeah, I'm okay with Brahimaj and Levitt getting.
Of course, they were fan.
Yeah,
they both choked the dude to sleep.
Yeah, but
give the man some money.
Levitt also knocked someone out, but okay, yeah, I'm cool with that. So Ben, I don't know if we've ever done this. I think we're gonna have the same grade. I don't know if we've ever done this. I'm giving this an F.
I've never given a UFC card an F. I've only given a few like D minuses in the 5 years or so we've been doing this, but this was literally not worth our time. Like if I didn't have to talk about this card at the end, of course I would have shut it off and found something else to do. Like it.
Same.
Because not only did the card fall apart, but the UFC's deal with ESPN being what it is, instead of cramming all this into 3 hot hours, they just filled it with more Liberty Mutual and Shaq selling icy hot commercials. Like it was such a waste of time. It was a complete drag. We'll be back. There are several outstanding cards coming up. Gotta take the bad with the good, but gotta be kind, gotta be honest. Honestly, this might be subjectively the worst UFC card in 5 years. It's so bad.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you were on a rant, and I totally agree with you, man. The action that we saw wasn't too bad. Strictly action, but you have to take in the whole of the main event right away just sunk it, and you can't. It was just this huge anvil you threw on there, and you can have your floaty, you can have all that on. You're holding an anvil, you're going down, and that's how I felt like. And then add that to a card that was already lackluster due to there was 2 fights that mattered: Gamrot versus Klein, which was really a ranked fighter versus an unranked fighter, and the Vieira Chasson fight where we kind of knew what was going to happen in the sense like it was not going to be a very exciting matchup. We had good moments, Levitt and Jacobe and the things he said. So Adeline and Amanda was a good fight. Like it was good. The action was good. The problem is it's like if it's 1995 and I bought a ticket to go to the Chicago Bulls and you're telling me Michael Jordan doesn't show up, and Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman and Tony Kukoc and are all not playing. This felt like a preseason game. It felt like you know what I mean? Where like the starters don't play.
It totally does. Or like Wu-Tang is on tour right now, and they're coming through with like 2 or 3 of the 9 MCs that you're expecting. Like, is it worth your $160 for the ticket or whatever? No, I'm totally with you on this.
Yeah, it's You God. That's it. You're getting You God and Master Killer. That's it. So, anyways, so hardest question of the night is who is your listener of the night?
It was a tough one, and we got several of what I think are probably Rookie of the Night awards, like Joseph Gasparian and Boxing God were both in.
Great.
Like when you arrive on the scene in the middle of a disaster, you're like the chat equivalent of a UFC fighter stepping up on short notice. Like, you get all the credit. It's a win-win situation. I'm torn between MMA Rax and Antoine Willis. Antoine, you're our guy. You live in Atlanta, where lots of my family does, but I'm gonna give it to MMA Rax because he made me laugh like before the show even started with some of the stuff that he preloaded on us. But it was neck and neck.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm glad, and you had all the names I was looking at. I'm gonna go with Antoine Willis. So the other pick you weren't gonna go, and I'm gonna go for. I looked at the chat, and before, so we always have like Sherdog makes a comment saying, "Hey guys, chat" or something like that. I love that Antoine Willis was in the chat before Sherdog even made the comment when they were setting it up, and I would love to see people chatting more. Sure. In the comments before the show even starts. Like, I would love if that was the thing. Like, people were talking about the fights as they were happening. So Antoine's starting, and I think that was cool, and he's always great. And he had some good questions. So maybe we'll and guys, reach out to us if you want to, like,
if you have questions for the host, yes.
Yeah, send it to us because whatever people want us to talk about, we'll talk about. So we'll talk about, maybe we'll do like our favorite comedian or something next week or something. But so there you guys have it. We have recapped all the fights. We have a big card coming up next week. So it's 1:26 right now a.m. and the East Coast war ending. This is about the time next week we'll be starting the show, as it's UFC 316, the rematch of Merab Dvalishvili taking on Sugar Sean O'Malley, and the grudge match between Juliana Pena and Kayla Harrison, plus a pretty deep card, maybe not the biggest names, but a pretty deep card the rest of the way. So we'll be previewing that. That preview should be up very early Monday morning. If you don't get it, most people will do the preview, might not do the recap show, but if you don't, you have to check out the preview. It is the deepest, we believe, the deepest preview show in the entire, I know it is. No one goes deeper than us. Our previous shows go at least 2 hours long, so we cover all the action. We have some comments and joking and all that. So until then, we'll see you guys next week. UFC 316 recap show. Peace out.